Welcome to the Two Guys Show on the EdReach Network. It is November 26, 2013. This is episode number 14 with the great Wes Fryer. I am Drew Minnock. I am one of your hosts at TechMinnock on Twitter, and you can always find us on our blog on twoguysandsomeipads.com. And my co-host, see, I got that right tonight.
Yes, you did.
As always, Brad Wade.
How you doing, everybody? Thank you and welcome. Glad to have you on our show tonight. My name is Brad Wade. You can find me on Twitter at TechBradWade. You can find us on our blog, and we'll give you all contact information at the end of the show as well. But we'd like to say welcome to Wes Fryer and thank him for joining us tonight. Wes, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing great and excited to join you guys from Oklahoma City.
Awesome.
So Wes, I know one of the first things that if people are watching live or watching this playback, they're going to say, where is Wes tonight? So, you know what, just so we can go ahead and explain and get the situation, why don't you tell everybody real quick what's going on and where you're at?
So my wife and I are having a rare date. We were going to be timing this to get back to the house, but just in case, brought the laptop and the Verizon LTE card, and the food was slightly delayed, so she's got another beverage to enjoy, and here we are. So we're good to go.
That's awesome. So I got to give you kudos on that, Wes, that you were prepared just in case, because as you said, you already had it planned out to be home in time, but, you know, deep dish pizza hits the floor, Chicago style. You got to wait a long time to get that to cook.
Yeah, they don't just pop those back in the oven. They're done in 2 seconds.
And it was worth waiting for, so yeah, it's all good.
They always are.
Awesome. All right, so Wes, let's get into it. You know, we met out of Podstock, and so we're familiar with what you do. You kind of know what we do, but for people who may be new to the show, you know, not as familiar with everything that you're doing, can you give us kind of a little 2-minute overview of, you know, who you are, kind of the things you're involved in, and just kind of information like that?
Okay. Well, I guess I would describe myself as a very passionate educator, really focused on trying to help teachers and students create media to show what they know and demonstrate understanding, take the digital shift, not just because we're going to, you know, we all should become digital, but because we can be better when we're digital and when we blend learning. So I actually have gone back into the classroom. I'm now again back to the elementary school. I started my educational life as a full STEM teacher in Yukon, Oklahoma, which is, they claim Garth Brooks, although he lives in Tulsa now, coming out with a new album, I hear.
All right.
Yeah, and so it is a really unique program because just like art and PE and music are specials that every you know student gets to go to every week, well, every student gets to go to STEM, and
That is
so
awesome.
our school's got about 600 kids, but thankfully this year it's only the school's only 2 years old. They reconfigured everything, and so we've got 7, you know, K3s and then 2 4 5s. But I've got half the students, so about 300 kids, and I get to see them twice a week, 50 minutes, you know, a time. So that's a lot better than seeing 22 classes for 50 minutes and, you know, feeling like it's Groundhog Day every day. And so anyway, that's
Right.
So, but I've been actually a full-time digital learning consultant since 2009, and have done some, you know, different kinds of higher ed stuff, and finished my doctorate a couple years ago, and have you know, done a bunch of things. But it's my wife went back in the classroom after over a decade out this August, and I hadn't anticipated that this was gonna happen, but through a variety of different things it has, and it's a great blessing, especially as far as travel. I've got 3 young kids that are in high school, middle school, and elementary, and so I'm with a great team with a great principal and a great situation. So it's you know, and there's all kinds of challenges, but it's exciting to be back for real. You know, not just talking about it. We're really doing it. So
There you go. And that's important, like you talked about, that supporting cast that you kind of have around you with your principal and how they kind of understand your situation of how you are a consultant and you travel around a lot and
well,
you know.
in the district, we negotiated a situation where I can be gone basically once a month, which is a really, you know, good thing. But it's, you know what, it's it's amazing what an impact teachers make every day, and even in a short time. They had a long-term sub because the guy who had this job before me had a medical situation, so he couldn't come back, had to resign. And I was very touched when I took over, as far as just how much those kids loved Mr. T, as they called him. And it's awesome just being back about a month, or being there about a month. There's just all kinds of thank you notes. Of course, it's Thanksgiving. But elementary kids are great, and it's the reason I wanted to be an elementary teacher was because I just think kids that age are open to a lot, and it's very rewarding. It's challenging too, but it's very rewarding. So
yeah. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't teach any other grade level, or I would stick in elementary. I mean, bless those people that do middle school and high school, but I'm an elementary teacher, and I can't imagine teaching anything else personally. I don't know about you, Brad.
Well, the thing is, Wes, and I love when one of the first things you said is you said you're a passionate teacher. And one of the things I love about having this venue for us right now, and you know what, a lot of us are in the same thing. We're working on this movement, not only this movement for technology and education, but also this movement about what power teachers have in the classroom. And there's always been, always jokes about teachers and things like that, and a lot of them have been kind of negative and things like that. And I think we're really part of this big moment now in education, not just teachers, but administrators and leaders and everything in the whole education field, to really push and say, look what we are able to do. Look what the students are able to do. Now just let's work with them. Let's use this technology to push and open up their minds. And we're really trying to put the learning in their hands, because these are the people that are going to be leading the world, and they're the future of all of us. They're going to be leading this world. And the young ones in 15 years, and some of them in 5 years will be out there. There's high schoolers who have their own $1-million businesses. The thing is with the impact of technology and social media, you don't have to wait to have an impact. You can have an impact now, and the beauty of what we are doing is we're able to show what kind of impact we can have. We always knew it, but now we're able to share it and show, and it kind of like fuels the fire. We call it a tidal wave. Here comes the tidal wave of change. You either get on the surfboard and go, or you just kind of duck and you get dry. You just get overwhelmed. So it's just, I love this. One of the first things you said was, I'm a passionate teacher, and that's what we love to hear, and we love those people be out in the front lines and having that voice to share with everybody. So that's awesome. Like you said, you're back in the classroom, 4th, 5th grade STEM teacher. And we just found this out 3-4 minutes before we went live. So
yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you thought you were just talking to a consultant. So yeah,
I love it. I love it. And we have, the thing is you do a lot of great stuff, which we'll get into. But it's awesome hearing you're back in the classroom with kids and what an impact you can have. And
absolutely.
Not only because you're trying to have an impact, but the thing is because you get to see what kids are doing, and you get to see what kids are learning. You get to see what kids can do. They can lead. They can develop into these learners and leaders, which is just fascinating. So thank you. Kudos.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I have to say,
so we're going to jump off of the.
One quick thing. You guys are probably two of the most enthusiastic folks I have ever met, definitely in Wichita, Kansas. So, Well, I think I asked you, are you always this enthusiastic? My wife was saying, be quiet.
The funny thing is I think I can be enthusiastic, but I'm pretty reserved when it comes when I'm compared to Brad anyway. Brad's got energy for days. I've never seen anything like it. That kid, I just called you a kid. That's the first time ever. You should write that down.
I love it. Note that.
He acts like a kid. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
But literally, he just bounces off the walls with energy.
Well, yeah, you guys are just on fire, and that enthusiasm is contagious, and that's one of the best things we can have as teachers is contagious passion, and that's one of the best things about social media is the chance to be able to rub minds and hang out with people who are on fire about how important teaching is and good ideas and sharing student work and all these different things that you're excited about. So yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.
So thank you. I think that's a perfect segue because we're going to get into your your blog or get into your K-12 online conference. But to set that stage, why don't we talk about how we met at Podstock? Kind of like, because I know, if I'm not mistaken, you weren't necessarily scheduled to be there initially, were you?
No, it just kind of worked out that I could be there. Yeah, there was a grant that I had to block out that week, and then we found out it was just a few points we missed it, but it was fortuitous. So Wichita's only about 3 hours away from where we're at. So I've been there 2 other times. So it was awesome to be able to come and get to meet. And I mean, I regret I got to hear your session on the recording, right? I didn't get to see it live because of the schedule. But getting to meet over food when there's no time limit and there's beverages available, that's a great time to get to meet. So
yeah, it was, and we were pretty lucky that we were able to talk beforehand, because I'll tell you what, we were a little worried. We thought no one was going to come to our session when we found out the day before or the night before that they had added you to the list of presenters the same exact time as us. We're like, oh no, good job, Brad. No one's coming.
Not at all, not at all. So, and Podstock's such a great venue, I guess, because of the social, right? Because it's small and connections. So
yeah. So absolutely. So those of you who are joining us live, or if you're listening to the podcast, we're with the Wes Fryer on the Two Guys Show, episode 14. So Podstock was absolutely amazing. Are you going to try to attend next year? Because I know Drew and I are going to go back. Are you trying to get back there this year?
I'm going to try. I haven't actually. I'm doing the last couple of summers I've done 3-day iPad media camps with teachers, which has been a lot of fun. So I'll have to take a look. If I can earn some extra money in the summer doing that, I'll weigh it. But Podstock is great, and for me, it's. I have a cousin who lives in town. It's
Yep, I heard that. Yep.
It's affordable, right? I don't have to travel. Like, how many hours was it driving down from Michigan?
Oh God!
Don't even get us started on the road trip.
Yeah, that road trip
is all day.
The thing is, though, the journey is just about as important as the destination, I'm sure. I've found that we don't go on many road trips as adults, so, and maybe there are good reasons for that. But.
It was like, we're excited to get there. We had a couple cool phone calls on the way. We were all psyched. That ride home, the tour Brad took me on through, memory lane, holy cow, added like a day and a half, it felt like, to the trip.
Oh my God. Oh, that's
I'm like, Brad, we're driving right through the night. Let's go. We're getting home. We'll be home at like 6 in the morning. He's like, no, we're not. I'm like,
I'm like, you know what? Because what happens at 3 when you don't want to drive anymore? It's like, really, you get a hotel from 3 to 6. So it was like
what we did.
We got a hotel about 1. We slept for a little bit. You
were fired.
It's funny. Yes, if Kelly and Kristen are watching, and Terry, they were all joking about our road trip, which has become a life of its own, which I guess is good. The stories you get to share in life are always fun. So
no more road trips.
Absolutely. Well, no, don't never say never. Never say never.
Nope. So, all right. So Wes. So why don't you? I want to hear a little bit about your blog. I wrote something down. Moving at the speed of creativity.
Yes.
So I think cool name. I love that. That's so cool. So I wanted to hear, where did that come from? Like, where was your inspiration, and what is behind that? Like, is that just tell me about that.
Well, actually, as much as I love Apple, I don't have a black turtleneck on tonight, but I love Steve Jobs, and I got the idea from Bill Gates, if you can believe that, because he had a book called Business at the Speed of Thought or something, which I did not read, but I saw the title and I thought, I don't want to move at the business, just thought out creativity, and I guess. One of the things, I started blogging in 2003, and I set up Speed of Creativity in 2005 on WordPress. And, I knew it would be important to set up a, domain name that I'd want to keep, and you think about you're going to brand yourself, and who knows where things are going to go and develop. Mm-hmm. But I like the idea, of ideas being able to travel at the speed of light, and the ways in which now, we're not just connected like, oh, I'm thinking about you. Oh, you can really know that. I can reach out with a text message, with a tweet. Mm-hmm. And, of course, that was pre-Twitter. I mean, Twitter was, 2006? But I guess it was a riff off of Bill Gates' book, and it was the idea that creativity is something that nobody puts a speed limit on.
That's
And
awesome. Yep.
and collaboration and the ways in which we creativity works with building on other people's ideas and all of that. Anyway, that was something I wanted to do, and I also actually wanted a place to share things that wasn't just about technology and education. I've since put up some different blogs to spin some things off, because I know most people who come to read my blog are reading about technology and education and leadership, things like that. But there's other things that I love, political science and geography and social studies, and so there's other stuff that I wanted to write about too. So anyway, that's kind of where that came from, and it's been good. I've watched some other people like Will Richardson, kind of leave their old blog behind and brand it with their name or whatnot. But
yeah,
I'm sticking with Speed of Creativity. So
I don't blame you. I think it's an awesome name. I wouldn't get rid of it either. If you do, we might snatch it up. So be careful.
Okay.
That is awesome. Also, we wanted to talk about social media consulting. Kind of like, what does that entail exactly? Because I know we've talked about, educating our parents and things like that at our school about social media and the power of it. But kind of tell us a little bit about what that is. Not
a lot of money, actually. Well, there's probably people that are more savvy about that than I am. I have had opportunities to do really 3 different paid gigs for organizations as a social media consultant and a contract blogger. The first one was pretty cool. It was for ISTE when they rolled out their ISTE Connects blog, and there was a group called iStrategy Labs that they hired, and then they reached out to me, and I was their content guy for 6 months, basically posting stuff every week and getting that going, and then there were more guest blogs and whatnot. And I've done a couple other gigs like that. It's actually something that I would recommend to people who want to try to be independent, find those reliable revenue streams, even if it's on a 6-month contract or something like that, because of the way that schools and different educational organizations pay and can take their time. It can be hugely important to have some of your income stream being reliable. But I do a lot of work with some nonprofits. There's a one that's like, it's basically a Habitat for Humanity group, but they have worked in one of our Oklahoma City suburbs where the land is too expensive for Habitat to buy, so they've worked to buy land, and I've just finished helping them completely revise their website and move to WordPress and be self-sufficient and being able to update that. And there's another nonprofit called Redeeming the Family, which is an awesome ministry. They go into prisons in Oklahoma and record parents reading books to their kids, and the kids get it for Father's Day, Mother's Day, Christmas, birthday, different times like that. And anyway, so I've gotten to help them with their website, with their YouTube, with their Twitter, with their Facebook, and it's I know there's a great need for this, and I don't feel like it's being met in our current school system. And, everyone really needs to become a proficient communicator with different kinds of media, and we don't emphasize that in school, and we need to. And I really see the glaring need for that, especially as I work with adults and organizations and they don't have the budget for it really either. But it's huge. You've got to do it. Your mailing list and how you're relevant to people, how you push information out, how you don't just sell. You want to share information and add value. But anyway, there's a lot of different pieces to that puzzle. So it's involved some money along the way, but a lot of it's been volunteer, and it's something that I have wondered if I would end up teaching at the university level. I've done pre-service and in-service teacher stuff, but I feel like it's something we need to be making more of our core in terms of what people learn in school is how to effectively communicate with media and leverage social media, and we're not there yet, certainly.
No, I completely agree. I think it's important communication is so important, and now that's the way people are communicating is with social media, especially with all the different types of websites and web tools and apps that are out there already. You know, it's really just getting started probably. I mean, I can't imagine what it's going to be like in a few years, to tell you the truth, because quickly with Twitter and, you know, Facebook and everything and how fast it moves, I can't imagine what it's going to be like in a few years.
Well, and how many channels there are. I mean, it's so overwhelming. We've been overwhelmed, I think, with cable television for years, but it's even worse now, right? And the numbers of channels and the, you know, but it's an opportunity too, right? It's an opportunity for any organization and any individual to have a channel and to develop a following and to define their niche and to share their passion and all of that. So there's an overwhelming side and a side that people have a difficult time dealing with, but there's just an unprecedented, mind-blowing opportunity that's there, which I want to help people seize and hopefully leverage. But I also want to disconnect too. I mean, there's all kinds of sides to this, and I'm as addicted to my devices as I'm sure a lot of us are, and so it's an interesting day that we're living in. I mean, I'll probably order Google Glass when it, you know, comes down in price and becomes commercially available, but despite loving all this connectivity, I try to be aware, want to be aware of the importance of disconnecting and the importance of being intentional and mindful. That's a good word, mindfulness, you know, mindfulness with our technology. And we got to help kids do that too, because, you know, whatever your age, none of us had extensive experience in the past living balanced lives with technology. This has all come pretty quick. So
I know I'll raise my hand. I'm addicted to my devices. I know that Brad knows that. I mean, I've got my iPad here. I've got my phone over here. I've got my Mini over here. I mean,
hey, hold that phone up again. Hold that phone up again. No, really?
The case?
I want to see the back. Yeah, I got to get one of those. Look what he did. Wes, is that pretty cool or what?
What is it? What does it have on the back?
It's our Two Guys logo.
Oh, nice.
With the Twitter handle and our show hashtag on it.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's pretty sweet. Marketing case.
I usually don't get very jealous, even though Drew has, like, I don't know, 8 of his own iPads. Minis, full-size Airs, iPhone 5, 6, 7, 9. He's got, like, the Mini Mega, the Mega Max, and, you know, Apple calls Drew and say, hey, what do you think's good? What should we do? He's like,
will you buy it? Yeah.
Yeah, they say, hey, what do you think? He's like, you know, I want something between the mini, between the full, but really thin, and maybe, you know, with Retina or something. You're like, all right, it's done. You know, we'll let you know. And they just give him the bat phone, and they call him. So he has everything.
The bat phone. Nice.
Well, hey, so Wes, I wanna jump to your whole K-12 online conference, because when we were having dinner at Podstock, you know, like you said, it was a great chance for all of us to talk. You know, we had no time restrictions. I mean, we must have sat there for 3 hours just chatting about everything, which was great. And at one point, you brought up the K-12 online conference. And, of course, we joined you this year, which was amazing. Thank you for having us. But
yeah.
Can you fill in our viewers on, first of all, what is the K-12 online conference, and then just kind of lead us through it. I know you've been doing it a while. We wrapped it up last month, so if you can kind of just start with an overview, and then we can chat about it.
You bet. Well, first off, K-12 is not any one person's deal. It's a collaborative, all-volunteer conference that goes back to 2006, so I think this was year 8 of the conference. And, you know, pre-Twitter, really pre-YouTube. I mean, when was YouTube? Was that maybe not? Maybe YouTube was around, but
yeah, YouTube I think was around then.
It wasn't mainstream, but it was in 2006, and it happened. Some conversations I think that Will Richardson had with Darren Kropotwa, if I'm remembering right, and then Cheryl Nussbaum Beach got in on it, and I got invited. How do we? We could just have a conference, you know. We don't need to have vendors. We don't need to set up a formal organization. Why don't we just invite people to share some amazing ideas, record some videos, make them available, and call it a conference? And a lot of things have spun off from that. We've had different organizers throughout the years, and for the record, this is actually the year I've been the least involved. I wasn't a strand convener because the conference in a nutshell takes place over 3 weeks. The first week there is a pre-conference keynote, which we've changed basically to where most of them are around 20 minutes. Some of them will be longer, but that wasn't the case early. But we've got that one pre-conference keynote, and then we've got 4 different strands, 2 per week, and we have a keynoter who's invited for each of the strands. And then there are usually at least 9 presentations to go with that. So over the course of each week, there's 20 presentations, 10 per strand. So we end up with somewhere a little over 40 presentations. And sometimes we have a few more, sometimes we have a few less. But for me, K-12 Online has been the most transformative educational learning opportunity that I've had, because I haven't just watched videos like we do with the TED Talk or something.
Mm-hmm.
I have connected with many people, originally, via blog comments. Do you remember that back in the old days when we left comments on blogs?
We talked about that before. It's like, man,
it's like the old
everyone
days.
wants to tweet somebody and tell them they like it. Leave a comment underneath. I'm just as guilty as the rest of people.
It means so much now, because it just it doesn't happen that often. But there's a bunch of presentations, and I have not, admitted, I have not seen every presentation that's been done for K-12. I've seen a lot of them, but there's some of the most innovative presentations, some of the most innovative educators, and it's provided this opportunity to connect directly with other educators who are sharing ideas and who are doing great things with kids. So being able to be a part of that has been a great blessing, and it's been personally transformative for me, and I know it's been personally transformative for a lot of other folks, because we hear those kinds of stories. So in the grand scheme of things, how many educators know about K-12 Online? Not that many, but it's a community that continues to grow, and it's different in that most of the conferences you see, like the Global Education Conference that just happened, the library one, a lot of those are basically all live conferences, and while there have been some live events for K-12, it's largely an asynchronous conference. And so I think of it like when the stories about Hollywood, when they began filming stage plays, they said, oh, we have this camera, well, we can film the stage play, and then somebody said, well, wait a minute, we can hit pause, and we could go other places, and we can do other things. And, the way screencasting has evolved and developed, it can be a lot of work, and I'd like to hear you guys talk a little about your experience, because, it can be too much work sometimes if people are especially perfectionists. But it's a chance to put that best foot forward, put those ideas forward, really crystallize your ideas, and then connect with other passionate folks who now can go at any time, refer, just like a TED Talk, hey, check it out, here's the link. And I've used them a lot with my pre-service and in-service teachers, as an assignment, because I want to introduce people to that and the power of rewind and the power of video.
Yep.
So that's.
I know that I think our biggest struggle with it was, we had 20 minutes, and Brad and I can't do anything in 20 minutes. We talk too much. We just ramble. We get too excited about things, and it's like we start talking about things we didn't even plan on talking about because we get so revved up. So I think our biggest issue was cramming everything into 20 minutes, and I still don't think we did that. I'm almost positive. I'm not sure how long ours was, but I'm almost positive it wasn't 20 minutes.
I think it was 26 or 28. We went over a little bit.
Yeah, it's okay.
But the nice thing is, Drew and I knew exactly what we wanted to highlight. So we just had to hone on our skills a little bit and to keep it crisp, keep it clean. And but I'll tell you, it was great. We loved it, and we sat in Drew's room and we knocked it out. It was great. We enjoyed it, and anytime we get a chance to share our passion with people, we love it. So thank you for that.
Oh, well, absolutely. And thanks to our organizer team. Like I said, this has been the year I've been the least involved. And it's a weird thing to be involved in an asynchronous conference like that, where literally the organizers we've never all gotten together face to face.
That's wild.
But when you talk with people week after week over Skype, we do everything through a Google Doc and basically through Skype. You really get close to people, and it's an exciting thing to come, see it come to fruition. So I would definitely encourage people to share it. A lot of the folks I think involved in K-12 Online are innovator, early adopter teachers, if you think about that technology adoption curve. and it's not going to appeal to everyone, but there are all kinds of different sessions. And so this is the first year we've had our videos on YouTube because of the way you can, get your channel certified for uploads longer than 15 minutes, etc. And I hope we're just going to continue to see it grow, because we really have a group of people dedicated to it, and it doesn't really cost us anything to do it, right? It costs us time, and time is valuable.
Right.
But I still think it's a remarkable thing to be able to share that kind of conference, and I'm still enjoying it. I mean, there's a ton of sessions that I still need to see and process. So it's a challenge because we've got all this information, but the conference can create some immediacy to have people, sort of gather around and watch. And I hope we'll see more schools and just individuals too, adopt it as a way to learn and to encourage others to professionally develop and to blend their professional development, because we all need that.
I agree.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Brad.
I was gonna give a shout out to Jose. Jose was the one who was helping us with our strand. I think he was leading one of the strands, and he kept us on track and made sure we had everything we needed and everything was in the right format and stuff. So it was a great experience for us, and we'd encourage people to go check out the videos from the conference and help it with your own professional development. Whether you're getting credit or not, we all want to get better. We want to learn. We want to be innovators. We want to be adopters. And like you said, Wes, people who are joining us tonight and are going and doing this research, they're typically early adopters. And my philosophy is, as early adopters, we need to get our message and be comfortable, and then we need to push out to the people who are not early adopters. And those are we have reluctancy issues to deal with. And so, like, I know some things that Drew and I do in our own building is we try to find those people and then just give them a small thing to do. We're not trying to overwhelm them, because if they're not early adopters, they're reluctant. And, you got to be careful with how you manage somebody like that or how you encourage somebody. Because if you go at them with your zeal and your passion and your gusto about everything you're doing, they're like, well, I can't do that. So, we got to...
You scare them to death, and that's really easy to do.
Yeah, Brad's really easy at scaring people, let me tell you.
I scare Drew every time I go into his room. Kramer, bust in. We can revisit the last 3 episodes and have our whole Seinfeld visit again. So, but, so I just, if we can encourage the masses to take a step, and like Brad Gustafson said, stick the toe in the water and just go for it. He said he stuck his toe in the water, then he went back and ran and did a cannonball. So that doesn't always happen, but if we can encourage people to start, adopt something, get comfortable with it, and then embrace it. So go ahead, Drew.
I was just wondering, Wes, what do you think about? Do you think that higher education is really preparing teachers right now for the way to use technology as an educator or anything like that?
Well, I think that we've got folks who are struggling. I mean, it's just like our overall school system. There are structural things in place and bureaucracies in place that are really they're really challenging to be able to change. I think where we see innovative leadership, we see innovative change. That's a key lesson. Good leadership matters everywhere, and we need good leaders in the classroom, good leaders at the building principal level, higher ed as well. So it's hard to make a sweep. It's unfair to make a sweeping generalization. All higher ed is terrible.
Yeah.
It's not true. There's a lot of innovation, and there's a lot of pockets of innovation. So I think that's why we need leaders who are going to really amplify that and try to encourage that. And at some point, here's a little higher ed tidbit that I think is made me think. I got to go to EDUCAUSE last. I guess November. It was a year ago in Denver. I'd never been to that conference before. It's kind of a CIO higher ed sort of conference, but they had a lot of instructional stuff too. And Clay Shirky, who I read his book Here Comes Everyone, which is an awesome book to read about social media and the web, said that when journals were created for science, they were created to both expand the distribution of those scientific ideas and increase the speed with which people got access to those ideas. Yet today, journals do the exact opposite. A friend of mine had, a journal article about 5-photo story projects, which were visual charades, and it took 3 years. His name's Kirby Alexander. It took him 3 years to get it published. And I mean, I was a graduate student just finishing my doctorate. I was I was really upset when I would reach these paywalls, trying to get this article. I'm like, I'm not paying $20 for this. Are you kidding me? By the way, aren't you a public institution? And
Nope.
so there's some of those kind of things that I think we need advocates for a lot of things. Open, educational resources, open journals. That's one aspect of it. So, but pre-service teacher education. I'll tell you what, it's important. We've got and I want to be careful, but we've got different programs that people are involved in our country, going into classrooms, and with alternative certification. There's lots and lots of good people going into education, but it's not accurate that anyone can just come into a classroom and with a 6-week little boot camp, you've got everything you need to be successful, whether it's for 2 years or for a lifetime with students. And so I think we've got a lot of important work to do with teacher education and teacher preparation, and part of that is also just helping people understand this is a profession, and professions, we not only prepare ourselves on an ongoing basis, we're continuing to get better, and everybody who's in this profession needs to be doing that. And there's just all kinds of layers of challenge that we have with respect to educational policy and schools. So I think we've got pockets of innovation, but I honestly find it easier to identify those innovative pockets when I'm in the K-12 sphere than when I'm in higher education, which is part of the reason why I'm really excited to be back in the K-12 classroom, because I think it's easier to innovate in an elementary school than it is at a university in some respect. Maybe that's not fair.
Oh, I think it is. I think that's totally true. I think there's a lot less, well, maybe not a lot less politics, but I think there is. And then just kind of like the way our curriculum is structured, and I think elementary teachers overall are pretty creative people, and they like artsy things, and things like that to a standpoint. But I think, we realize that creativity is important for students at all age levels, but especially at the age that we deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so Brad, let's head into the next question, because I can't wait to hear the response on this, because I know I'm interested in it. So Wes, if you had 5 minutes in front of a captive audience, what would you talk about?
Well, that's the benefit of working on books, because when you work on books, by the way, do you guys got your book out yet? Where's your book?
I know you're talking to Podstock.
I think it's on its way, Wes, because you're not the only person that's asking. So, we don't have a publisher, but we've been asked by many people now, and I think AR and Education is right up our alley. So maybe the two guys' book on AR and Education, it's on its way. So
that's right. So the phrase I read in the last year is, your word is your wand, your magical wand to be able to share your ideas through your spoken word and your written word. So I would talk about mapping media to the curriculum and to the Common Core. That's the second book that I finished this past summer. And basically it's a framework of 12 products that students and teachers can create to demonstrate what they know and what they understand. I think that all of us are in a shift to a more performance-based assessment, landscape or whatever. Where, it's not just multiple choice. It is going to be with some multiple choice, but there's going to be a lot of short answer. There's going to be a lot of video. There's going to be a lot of, hyperlinked, documents. There's going to be animated things. There's all these products, and so what I'm really passionate about is helping people not just do these long projects that are going to take 6 weeks and you're like, oh, maybe at the end of the year. What can you do today? What are some quick victories you could do today? We could do visual note-taking right now about the ideas we're discussing in this session. We can do a quick little narrated art project with AudioBoo where we draw a picture, non-linguistically represent ideas, and then we record our voice. Interactive writing. Every classroom needs to have a space to be sharing some student work and to be allowing for interaction to take place between students and their peers and their parents and an audience beyond the classroom. So that has become my real passion, is trying to help redefine what literacy means and expanding digital literacy far beyond our sort of 1990s constructs of Microsoft Office and productivity tools, and looking at products that we need to create. And that's going to continue to grow and expand. But I did a little session at ISTE, a poster session, where I talked about changing your vocabulary. So let's not talk about blogs. Let's talk about interactive writing. Let's not talk about podcasts. Let's talk about radio shows. You know, there's different ways that we can change our language. And let's talk about books. Books are a bridge between generations. Nobody comes into a school these days and say, why are you doing this book stuff? Why are you making books? We didn't have no books when I was in school. You know, nobody says that. They know books are important, and now kids can make books that have text and images, but also have video, that also have recorded audio, and they're just the texture of it and the depth of it, I guess, the window that it provides into what students know and what they can do can be so much richer. So that's more than 2 minutes, sorry.
No, you had 5, so you were good.
You're perfect.
Oh, okay. Good.
You're better at us. If we had 5 minutes, we'd take 10. You know, that's just the way we do things. So that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wes, Drew asked you the question. I just wanted to comment on this because I was actually going to share this in our EdTech conference session. It was cool because Drew asked about higher education and prepping students, and then I just see that Amanda Meyer asked about a student teacher. So a couple things in higher education. Today, Todd, our friend Todd Nesloni at Tech Ninja Todd, he was down at University of Texas Brownsville at School of Education, and he actually was doing a workshop with them on being connected, PLNs, augmented reality, all kinds of stuff. I jumped in for augmented reality. He brought people in a Google Hangout for being connected and stuff. So like, I think what I want to do is just tag on what you said and piggyback that there are pockets. And there's pockets everywhere. Just like there's early adopters in teachers and education, there's also early adopters of leadership. You know, Brad Gustafson's a great example of a
yes,
is an innovator, and he's a leader in being a principal. Randy English, another principal. He's another innovator and leading like that. So, you know, although I know that's a sweeping comment, but I think I would agree with you that, you know, even in higher education, we are getting pockets where people are trying to say, all right, you know what, let's take a look at this, because the world is changing at such an accelerated rate. The kids are coming in. I mean, we all know this now. This isn't even news to us. You know, 2, 3, and 4-year-olds are very familiar with iPads already. So having an iPad in the classroom, it's not a new toy now. It's more a device. It's more of a conduit to help them with their education, help them with their learning, help them show what they know. So with the rate of our world changing, we need to be ready to embrace it. And Drew and I have this conversation all the time. You know, these kids come in comfortable and ready to play with technology. It's the adults who have the hang-up sometimes. You know, early adopters not as much, but the general mass of people are a little more reluctant to jump into technology. So I give kudos to those higher education places where they're getting, you know, young adults ready to go into the classroom and say, all right, here's some things outside of all the awesome stuff and the curriculum and everything and the field placements. Here's another pocket that you need to think about, educational technology. But, you know, a lot of these people are already on Twitter. They're already on Facebook. Yep. They're already on Instagram. They're already Vine. They're already vlogging. They already have a YouTube channel. You know, I mean, so if we can just mash this all and say, all right, let's just really get this ready so we can get these students prepared, whatever grade you end up teaching, get them prepared and get them to be successful in the world we live in now, not trying to get them ready for an analog world in 5 years. It's not. You know, we do a lot of analog teaching, but now we're trying to get that analog-digital blend because we're living in an analog/digital world where we're blending it. And our use of augmented reality is truly blending that augmented world, that analog world with the digital world, and then how do those go together to not be a magic show, to be a meaningful integration in the classroom and education. So.
I think we need to remember, though, that people aren't going to necessarily make that jump between their Instagram and their Vine account and a digital portfolio and showing what they know. I've been reading Sylvia Martinez and Gary Steger's book, Invent to Learn, which I would totally recommend to everybody. And they cite an author whose name I should know from the 80s who said there's 3 roles for the computer as the tutor as the tool and the tutee. So the tutor is the, I'm computer aided instruction. I'm going to watch Khan Academy. The tool is I'm using it as a productivity tool. The tutee is the programming. It's hopscotch on the iPad. It's being able to have agency over the device and create. And without a teacher or parent or other adult helping guide kids, they're not necessarily going to gravitate right away to those tool uses and especially to those tutee uses. So I think you're totally right. We definitely need to make this shift. But I see a lot of people look at iPads and other tools and still see arcades and Pac-Man rather than seeing this incredible amplifier of learning and realizing that we've, what are the good instructional strategies? Well, can technology amplify that? Yes, sometimes it can transform it. But you're right with the adult part. I mean, it's kids too. And that goes to the pre-service teachers, because if our pre-service teachers are still with teachers who are not, using these tools and blending their learning and helping kids create digital portfolios, what are they going to do when they become teachers? They're going to do the same things that they saw. Right? So that's
exactly. I know Brad has a student teacher that's kind of with him a little bit now, but when does she start?
She starts full-time in January, and Wes, it was really funny because when I interviewed her last spring, I
interviewed her in my room.
I interviewed her in Drew's room, and first thing I said, look, you're about to get an experience. It's not like what your classmates are going to get. We spent like an hour and a half showing her all our educational technology, augmented reality. We showed her things we were using with students, and I think she left and went.
I think her head was spinning when she left.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
It's great. So she's been doing a great job. I just connected her to a tweet because we had somebody asking about student teachers, but she'll be starting in January full time. So
and then I have a college student who's coming in to observe me next Tuesday. I don't know if she's coming for just the morning or she's coming for the full day, but she's going to come in and do some pre-student teaching hours with my classroom. So hopefully she'll get a window into what it's like in a 21st century classroom.
That's right, and hopefully people who are organizing the student teaching and field experience are going to take that kind of thing more into consideration. How are we providing a good blended learning experience for our pre-service teachers?
Agreed. Absolutely.
Well, before we move on to the next, anything else from you, Drew? Before we move on to like tech conferences and little AR and all that stuff.
No, not for me.
All right, so Wes, we're going to move on to our Ed Tech Conference section. This is where you get a chance to talk just briefly about like either a place you've been recently or a place you're going and kind of what you're looking forward to and what your platform's going to be.
Well, I had a crazy October. I actually traveled more than I pretty much ever had. I think the highlight for me was actually going up to Northwest Illinois and spending a day and a half with 70 teachers in basically a retreat. I'd never done something like this. So it was just mapping media, but rather than, here, let's do this, let's pack all this in, as much as we can in 45 minutes, and I don't tend to try to do that. Now with sessions, I will pick less and try to cover it more in depth. But we really got to create a lot. We got to do some narrated art projects with AudioBoo. We got to do a bunch of interactive writing. We used Today's Meet. We used a kid blog that we set up, and everybody learned how to use the enrollment code to get in there and to leave comments and how the moderation worked. It's so important, I think, that we provide opportunities for teachers to be students in a blended learning situation. Not to just say, here, look at this, now go back and do it. No, let's do it together, and you can see how it works, and then you'll feel more confident. So that was really fun, and I had not really spent a day and a half with the same group of people like that in that kind of situation. Plus, it was in a really nice hotel, which is that's always nice.
That was a bonus.
A highlight of this fall was certainly the Mobile Learning Conference. You guys need to go to Tony Vincent's conference that he does with the Arizona K-12. It is really great. Now, they're going to change it. I don't think they're going to do it in the fall. I think they're going to go back to April. But that is a phenomenally great conference. I am looking forward, to doing these 3-day iPad media camps in the summer. And in fact, I'll let people know I really need to put together dates. I've got a Google Doc with some details if people want to host one. But I'd like to do, I've done 2 the last 2 summers, and I'd like to do more of those. And the reason it's so good, it goes back to that idea of teachers being students. It's all iPad focused. We do narrated slideshows on day 1. We do what I call quick edit video, basically iMovie and no edit, or minimal edit video on day 2, and then we do ebooks and interactive writing on day 3. Those are things that can apply to any grade level and content area. And I just love it when teachers get so excited because of the confidence that comes from success. And so, it's amazing how many adults will lead a technology interaction with a disclaimer. Well, you got to know that I just don't do this technology. Well, I just didn't grow up with, there's all these disclaimers. And so, sometimes it's those folks that are the most excited at, look at the ebook I made, look at the, look at this video that I've created and I've posted on YouTube for, So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm probably not going to go to ISTE this year, but that's another good reason for me to get to Podstock. I thought my son's going to Germany on a trip, and we were hoping our family would go, and we don't know that that's going to happen at this point, to meet up with him afterwards. So anyway, it's more reason to get to Podstock, because that's we all need to be fueled. It's great to share stuff and teach stuff, but it's also great to be. I mean, I'm always learning, but it's great to not sort of be on and be responsible for what's going on. So
that is so true. I'll tell you what, it is so nice if the one chance that you get, it seems like that we have had, which is rare, but that you can go to a conference, you're not worried about presenting, you're not worried about anything like that, where you can just go learn. You know what I mean? And not that we're not learning anyway when we go to these conferences and do present, because just the interactions that we get with people and everything like that is so valuable. But the ability to just go where you're not worried about your session, you can just go and go to sessions that you're interested in learning about would be very beneficial.
Absolutely. So how about you guys? What are you all looking forward to conference-wise?
Brad?
Oh, all right, I'll go. Once January hits, we're pretty busy. We have the Ohio Ed Tech Conference coming up into January, which we're really excited about. We're presenting there, doing a keynote there. We're doing FETC end of January, going down to Orlando. We're doing a workshop there.
Very excited about that.
Very excited about that. We're also going to try to sneak in a trip to Chicago, which Drew and I have to talk about. Something came up for AEYC in Chicago, Metro Chicago area, around that same time frame. We'll have to work out schedules and logistics. And we do ICE in February. And then we have our local McCall in March, which we just got word on. We'll be presenting there. Aaron Klein will be presenting as well. Todd's flying up. He'll be presenting. I know Ginger's coming in.
Adam Bellows keynoting. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be like a little mini ISTE all of a sudden. A lot of our good friends are going to be there, and we're all going to be in cities in Grand Rapids this year, so that'll be fun. It's a beautiful. If you haven't been to Grand Rapids, it's a city about 150, 200,000. Beautiful downtown. It's quaint, clean, nice. It's a great place to hold a conference. And then again, we'll be back at ISTE. Hopefully, we'll be presenting there. We have a couple proposals in, and then again, Podstock. I don't think we'd miss it. I'm looking forward to road tripping with Drew again for 17 hours. We're gonna get in a family truckster and head out there and get stuck behind another tractor.
Maybe you guys can get a van this time and kind of recreate the Mystery Machine.
We had a van last time.
Yeah, we did. I will never forget. Okay, I drive most of it, and that's fine, and I'm happy, so is Drew. And so Drew's driving home, and I am so tired. I go way to the back, and I'm crashed. I'm like sprawled out, sleep, and all of a sudden I feel the brakes. I look up. There's a police car right behind me, and Drew's all nervous, like, oh my God. And he wasn't even doing anything. The police car was just behind him. It was just one of those ones where we were in traffic and stuff. And so my heart's racing. I'm looking up, and Drew's like, oh my God, I don't want to do anything. But man, I wonder if he's going to. I said he's running my plates, probably, because that's what they do.
Which is good, because if he was running my plate, he probably would have pulled me over.
So my plates were good, which was fun. So. Yeah, so we'll see what kind of road trip. I'm guessing we'll fly next time, but the road trip was awfully fun.
Yeah, it was a learning lesson.
So, all right, all right, let's keep moving on. Drew, you know what? I think we'd be remiss if we did mention where we went this last week, Thursday, Friday.
Absolutely.
I don't know if Wes knows about it or not, but why don't we give like a 2 or 3 minute version of where we were? You can chime in, I'll chime in, and people can go to the blog and read more about it. But why don't you fill in our viewers where we just got back from?
Well, obviously, if you guys are following along, we just got back from Washington, D.C. Real quick trip out there for the White House Champions of Change event, where we went with our good friend Todd, at Tech Ninja Todd, Nez Looney.
Yeah,
But he'll love that.
Oh my God, I have the video to prove it.
Nez Looney. So we were out there supporting him. I'll never forget the night that I saw the nomination information go up online, and I called Todd at like 11:30 at night, and like, have you seen this? No. So we talked about it then, and I ended up nominating him the next day. And I know I wasn't the only one that nominated Todd, obviously, since he won. But I mean, it was just a great opportunity a once in a lifetime opportunity, really, to get inside the White House and get a tour, and and then get into the Eisenhower Executive Building and see the president speak and be that close to it, and be right outside the West Wing, and just to experience those types of things with great friends in a place like Washington, D.C. is something I know I'll never forget, and it was a once in a lifetime opportunity for me, and it was a lot of fun, and we got to thank Todd for that. I mean.
Absolutely, and he's not watching in his car right now. He's driving back from his presentation. Yeah. But so you can see a lot of the information on our blog. You can see it on our Facebook page. You can see it on our Instagram. Wes, it was absolutely unbelievable. Thursday was we spent the morning inside the White House, and we have some amazing videos and pictures from as soon as you stepped out. You could do that. And then we had our event that we were there for Todd when he actually won the award, which was amazing, and the president came in. He got to meet him. And the crazy thing is Drew and I got footage from our phone right there, 2-3 rows. I mean, it was a small room, small venue, and it was incredible. So thank you to the White House for the Champions of Change. That was a great event.
They did it right. They definitely did it right.
They did it right. Drew wrote an amazing article about it. It was fantastic. And so, anyways, congratulations to Todd. We're thrilled.
And all the other champions. What an honor.
I mean,
yeah.
Jenny and
Bud Hunt, Jenny Majera.
Yep.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yep. Yeah.
Bud Hunt, real passionate. You can tell that. Mark Coppin. There's just a lot of great people on there.
Absolutely. So, all right. You know what? Let's go to the PLN shout-out, and then we're going to finish with, songs on your playlist. So that's my favorite. I love it. So let's get to PLN shout-outs. Drew, why don't you go first, and we'll let Wes go, then I'll go, and then we'll jump into some music.
All right, I'm going to give a shout-out to David Bryden. I hope I said that right. He's at Bryden David, Brydon, David. He tweeted Brad and I this afternoon and said he's getting ready to do his first AR experience. So we're pretty excited to hear about how that went and how that goes, and just kind of kudos to him for giving it a try and using it. Yep. I'm going to give a shout out to Tangible Play. Tangible Play is this. This is like the little spot it sits in. This pops out and sits on top of your iPad, and then you use manipulatives to do different learning games and like spelling games and word games and things like that. So big shout out to them. I just got this the other day. My kids loved playing with it today in class. Let me tell you, they were really engaged and wanted to play more with it, but it only works on one of my iPads. So, and then a shout out to another company I had a phone call with last week, PlayEye. Wes, I don't know if you've seen this or not, but Bo the Robot, where you write code for it and program it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Awesome. It is so cool. It's different. They have different things for different age groups, and it is so cool. And I spent some time on the phone with them last week, and very cool things going on there with PlayEye. And I'll tweet you the link, Wes. You got to check this thing out. It is awesome.
Cool.
So that's
all right.
it for me.
All right, Wes.
Okay, well here are Here are my three. I just tweeted them. So first one is Autumn Laidler. Autumn is a elementary teacher in Chicago who I got to meet at ISTE and who I got to see in Chicago for their iPad Academy this summer. And I just read a great post she wrote this last week, and just a real passionate science teacher, and there's so much more to kids than test scores, and that was part of what she was writing about in her blog this week. So shout out to her. Shout out to Shannon M. Miller. Shannon was actually our pre-conference keynote speaker for K-12 Online, and she is the library media specialist in Van Meter, Iowa. She is unbelievable, and the kinds of collaboration and interactive writing and publishing and connecting with authors and all kinds of stuff she's doing is just amazing. So you've got to check out her K-12 Online presentation. And then the third one is like not somebody who I think knows me and has ever interacted with me, but I've been reading his book. His name is Pasi Sahlberg. He actually was one of the architects in Finland of their educational reform movement that was not based on personality or political party. It was an agreement about what they were going to do in the best interests of students and their country. And so I've been listening to that on Audible, and I think that's one of the things we need in our country. We don't need education to be politicized. We need, a reform agenda that's actually constructive and helpful for both students and teachers. And so even though Finland is very different demographically than us, and there's all kinds of social differences as far as safety nets and economics and things, there's a lot to learn. So I would encourage people to check out Pasi Sahlberg's book. It's called Finnish Lessons.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Well, it's funny, Wes, because I was talking to Shannon a little earlier today, and she said to make sure to tell you hi, so I thought that was kind of funny. So she said tell you hi anyways. So awesome. Okay. All right. So I've got my shout-outs, and all right, the first one, this is one of my this is really?
No, keep going.
Okay, all right. Wes, this is nothing uncommon. Like I was watching the playback from Don Wettrick when he was on the other night, and it was right. It's I think Drew does this on purpose. I was getting ready to do my playlist. All of a sudden, boom! Ah! I'm like, all right, I had to stop. And just in case people forget, he loves Pokemon. # Drew loves Pokemon. That's what it was about. So, anyways, but my first shout out goes to a fellow teammate of mine. I play soccer, so this goes out to Mark Osmond. I know he's watching tonight. He's a great friend. He does a lot of cool stuff, and we're going to chat about doing some really cool things together. And he's a keeper for us in soccer. He's an all-around great guy. You can find him on Twitter. I think he might have just made it tonight because I told him I was going to give him a shout-out. He's on, LinkedIn. And matter of fact, Mark, I did mention to the president, I asked him why he ignored your LinkedIn invitation. He just like you asked me, he said, Mark, and I said, all right, never mind. But anyways, you can find him at MHO Osmond. So his name is Mark Osmond. You can find him. You can go into me and find him. So shout out, I know him and his daughter are watching right now. So nice to see you guys. Next one's Yngvi Omarsson. Yngvi is our friend from Iceland. We've talked about him before. He's doing a lot of cool stuff. I think he's over in Sweden right now. He's doing some schooling there. But he's also creating some apps that we're going to help look at and go over for him. And we're planning a trip to England this summer. I'd love that to happen. And then Ted Huff, I know he's watching the show right now. Ted, he's an administrator in Missouri. We're going to jump in with his staff in December. And he reached out to us. He's been a friend of the show for a while, and he reached out to us. And so we're going to join him for some cool little PD in December. I believe it's on Thursday, December 16th or something like that. And then, what? I'm going to add a fourth because Michael Medvinsky, he's
rocking it, man.
He's awesome. His daughter's actually in my class. He's a local guy. He's a music teacher, but he's doing all kinds of great things. He's just so creative. Already he's a creative person. He's using a lot of cool technology things to just enhance his teaching to make the learning for his students just absolutely incredible. So Michael Medvinsky, shout out to him, and of course Aaron Klein, all our friends. But so that's our PLN shout out. And then, so let's move on to probably arguably the best segment of the show. I mean, how many times, it's great. So I'll do my soapbox when it's my turn. So, well, let's get to what songs are on everybody's playlist. Drew, why don't you go ahead and start?
All right, I will give it a start. My first song is 30 Seconds to Mars, called City of Angels. I just bought that album on iTunes the other day. I was always a fan of 30 Seconds to Mars. Jared Leto, who's the actor, is the lead singer. Imagine Dragons, Demons. If anyone watched the American Music Awards the other day, you have to check out their performance. It is awesome, absolutely awesome. And then I just got the new Daughtry album as well, and any song on there is really good. That whole album it's very different, I feel like, than the other things that they've done, and I just thought it was great. Really great album, so definitely check that out.
Awesome.
All right, so I'm not going to do full disclosure because I will probably lose all credibility that I have with anyone if I actually disclose what's on this. But what I will share is I have been liking iTunes Radio. I never went to Spotify, but I use Pandora some. But I really have liked iTunes Radio, and it actually has worked for me to buy stuff. So if Apple iTunes people are listening, I'm sure they're going to like that. So my favorite channel is my Falco channel. So I'll reveal myself as a child of the 80s here. So I did buy Der Kommissar in German, by Falco. I'm a big Queen fan, so I did buy Killer Queen. And I could say that I have The Fox by is it Yelvis? That was my daughter. We bought that for her.
Yeah, Brad, how do you feel about that song?
Oh man, that's
which song?
Crazy.
What does a fox say?
What does the Fox say?
I still don't know. I'm thankful to my PLN. Thank you, because so many people in my PLN, when that came out and Drew made me just realize I had no clue what he's even talking about. They told me don't listen to it. I have still been able to avoid it, so I'm good.
Okay, there's a Saturday Night Live skit on that's pretty good. It's not necessarily safe for kids, but it is pretty funny. And then there's one by the bass hunter called Dot A, and it's like in German too. So anyway, there's no way I would have been finding these songs without the iTunes Radio thing. I actually kind of switched it from hits to like variety, and now to discovery or whatever. So anyway, there's more stuff there, but I have quite eclectic tastes. So
that's awesome.
Those are some of the much more mild ones that are on there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Don Electric dropped a Smashing Pumpkins reference, which was great. We hadn't had that on the show. That was really good. So, all right. Well, here we go. I'm going to talk about it. All right, so the first one, I don't know if we did this one before. I don't think so. Fall Out Boy, Alone Together. I love that song. It's fun to really crank in the car. All right, now this one I have been listening to on and off for quite a while, and I heard it again tonight, and I'm just going to throw it out there. All right, it's AJR is the name of the band, but the song's called I'm Ready, and if anybody knows it, this is unbelievable. There's a time in the song where they do a SpongeBob reference, and SpongeBob is yelling, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, from the SpongeBob TV show. The first time I heard it, I'm like, this has got to be a Saturday Night Live joke. It's a skit. It's funny. It's like, what's a fox say, I'm guessing, okay? But it's actually, the song's actually pretty good. So I'm Ready by AJR. You can hear SpongeBob sing, which is pretty awesome. It's not a kid song, so go with that. All right, so my next, this is my big one, Skywalker by Project Dirty, and they are on Twitter, so I want somebody to tweet them out.
Yes, they retweeted us last week because we talked about it, so let's do it again.
Yep, and I tweeted last night that I was going to mention them on the show. Project Dirty is the name of the band. A couple guys. It's called Skywalker. They are on Twitter, so check them out. Give them a shout-out. We're chatting about them right now. You never know. Maybe they come on the show sometime. And I guess that's it. I'm actually going to stop at 3 since Todd gave us that advice that 3 means 3, Brad. 3 doesn't mean like 14. So I'm going to stop at 3.
Good job, Brad. I'm proud of you.
Look who it is.
My wife's ready to leave.
we're wrapping it up right now. So, all right, Drew, why don't you wrap it up with your contact information, then we'll go let Wes do it, and then we'll wrap up. I'll finish up.
You can find me, as always, at TechMinoc or on our blog, twoguysintomypads.com. Also, check out our Facebook page, is Two Guys and Some iPads. We also have a Google Plus page that you can check out as well. So definitely check us out. Let us know any questions that you have. And head on over to iTunes. Leave comments in our section and subscribe to our iTunes channel.
Awesome. Wes, what's your contact information? How can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at WFryer, and my blog is speedofcreativity.org.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I am Brad Wade. You can find me on Twitter at TechBradWade. You can check out our blog, twoguysomipads.com. You can find us on Instagram, two guys some iPads, but that's underscore. So you'll see some stuff that maybe you don't want to see, but there's a lot of interesting things on there.
Hey, and one more thing. I actually have set up a Twitter account for my STEM class, so I'm IES STEM on Twitter. So if anybody else is teaching STEM, we're sharing student work. We got blogs going on, and we're just getting started. So
very good.
Awesome. IES STEM to follow his classroom. We want to say thank you to Wes Fryer for joining us tonight.
Thank you to his wife for allowing him to interrupt dinner.
Thank you to you. Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. Getting some love right there. So thank you, everyone, for joining the show and joining us on the EdReach Network tonight. I'd like to thank my co-host, Drew Minock. I'd like to thank our guest, Wes Fryer, and his wife. Thank you very much. And we appreciate you joining us. Stay tuned, everybody. Stay connected.
Yep. Goodbye, everybody.